Welcome back to the University of Queensland School of Architecture Introductory Series to Rhino and Grasshopper. Picking up this routine of the example tower where we're working on the shear walls. Now, we managed to get the shear walls to work, but there are a few issues with it. It's not performing correctly. And often what you'll find in doing these routines is that you'll get some unanticipated results, and it in some senses is very much like a design process where you can't foresee all of the issues. You just have to work through them, look at what you've got, think it through, and then make adjustments to it. In this instance, we've got too many columns and it's coming through that back facade, and I think there is a solution that will perhaps kill the two birds with the one stone. Now, at the moment, what we're doing is we're setting up a whole bunch of lines and extruding upwards. Now, perhaps what we can do is instead to cull the uppermost columns for a start, and then move the lines down and extrude downwards. So because the chamfer is always going to be coming in, and that's the way that we've set up the routine, that's the design intention. If we extrude downward, they're never going to intersect with the floor. So I think that's one way we're going to do it, and we'll also introduce a column offset for both sides so that they step off the facade a little bit. To do that, what we'll do is we'll try and figure out where the best place to start culling the information, and I think in the first instance what we'll do is perhaps draw our attention to where the data is coming into this back part of the subroutine and get rid of one of these curves. Now the logic is that if we, like we've done before, if we get rid of the top curves, that's fine, but we can't step it down. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to remove the bottom curve, and so what we'll do is we'll cull and index because we know that we want to take the first in the list. So I'm going to copy that into there. We'll get the northern facade again through here. We'll pop that down. We'll pop that into the list, and we'll get the southern facade. We'll come down through here, pop that in the list, and we'll pop the curves in there, pop the curves, come on, in there. It's starting to get a bit snaky because we're getting a lot of information here. So you can see we've lost those curves in the first instance, so at least we've got the right number of columns. Now while we're here, it kind of occurred to me that if we're culling, we've also got an issue here because we've got too many columns, but we're using the number of floors to divide to create our series. So in fact what we're going to have to do is to also take no, we don't want a number slider, we want a panel, and we're going to put a number 1. We have to reduce our list length through here. That's generating the series because we've got one too many floors. So I'm going to pop that in there, which is not going to like until I get my floor levels through here. Pop that in. It'll take a while. Okay, so at least our series should actually be more accurate now. Working along here, probably what we want to do is to offset the columns before we generate this line, because otherwise if we try and do it later there's a few too many calculations. So before then, so I'm going to do another number slider here, and I'll change that to column offset from facade. We'll do this as 500. Okay, so we'll get a a move happening in here, and a translation vector, which will be, in this instance, for this one, if we're offsetting, we'll offset an X unit through there. And what we'll also, oops, come over here. What we'll also do is, because we're in negative land over here, we'll do the same. We'll get a negative and pop that into there. So this is going to set up our column offset. So we'll dial in this number through here, through there, and we'll pick that, pick up again through there, pop that into there, and so we'll pop that there, and then we'll transfer that to there, give it some time to think about what it's doing, and there you can see it's moved it in. And again, if I just zoom in here, you'll see the effect when I pop this cull through here, pop it in there, give it time to sort itself out, and this should jump back. Voila. Okay. So we've resolved two of our issues, I guess. So we've resolved the offset from the column, and we've resolved the number of columns. Now what we have to do is kind of shift everything down. So to do that, what we might do is we'll do a move, and we'll do a Z value move, because we're moving it up and down, and we'll move it the thickness of the floor slab, which is a negative integer already, so that will move it downwards. Where are we? So what we'll then do is we'll get this line and this line. Oops, I forgot to put the shift key down. So we've got a move going on there, and now we'll pop that back into here, and now it's going to really have to think hard. So everything has now moved down the thickness of the slab, and what we'll have to do is we'll move this over here. In order for the extrude to go down and not up, we'll put a negative value out of the Y and pop that into there. Let that think a bit. And there you have it. We should have problem solved. So there we've got the columns at the bottom and no columns at the top. And more importantly, we don't have an issue of the columns coming through the facade. So, touch wood, it seems that we've got a functioning routine for this part. So, I'm going to leave it there. Now, I'm not going to step you through the columns going this direction, because ostensibly it's the same routine, and what you can do is just pick up the routine from stage 3, and what I'll have done is have this all tidied up, and the next run of the east and west facades duplicated in underneath, and then what we'll do is we'll pick it up at the next stage. Thanks.